Hey, just finishing up something, and I thought maybe I should share this with you. It's sort of like lessons learned or fabrication shop tip, or kids don't do what I did, do what I'm saying now. Anyway, it's about, well, thinking that this was all done and all the tubing was in and all the cage was ready for the motor, when in looking at it, I realized that it wasn't. The deal was, I put in these extra, and I probably mentioned this before, these extra down tubing from the top of the main hoop down to the corner or the back of the car, and some big gussets, sort of like plinth boxes in the bottom here, to keep the back end solid, because there's no fenders and there's very little structure back here. So I need extra framing. And it was to keep it from drooping, because the motor's attached back here and there's weight. Well, in thinking about what happened when I blew my motor for the last time in 2001 at Mid-Ohio, the crank broke. It vibrated so much that it broke the bell housing. And since then I was thinking probably it broke the bell housing because the back end started vibrating, and I have it solid. This is a solid connection from this cross piece down to the bell housing to make everything more solid. But if the back end was vibrating because of the blown motor, that was actually flexing the bell housing. Because from the bell housing forward, it was solid, and from the back, it was attached to this flexible back end of the car. So I put in the extra tubing to solve that, but then I realized recently that that'll keep the back end from dropping, but I don't think it will keep the back end from vibrating, in other words, rising and falling, because when it's pulling on this tubing from the weight on the back, it's in tension, so it's strong, but pushing on it, it might cause it to deflect a tiny amount because it's so long. It's all the way from down here to up there. And that wouldn't be good, because the vibration eventually breaks things. So I put in now, after I thought everything was done, I took it all apart again. And let's see, I'll get over here. I put in these connector pieces from the end of the original down tubing from the original roll cage, which connects to the shock mount, the upper shock mount. And it's also tied into the frame member in the back, the square member. And I tied it up to the long additional tubing. So what that does is it makes a triangulated section here, which is rock solid, and shortens up the length up to the top. So my hope and thought is that when it pushes up, it'll have less flex, and it'll keep it more solid. Instead of having this whole thing and probably right in here, it would flex. So it shortens it up. And if I need any more, I could tie them together up there, but I'm not going to do that unless I have to. So the moral of the story is, I thought I knew what the problem was. I solved a part of the problem, what was visible, what I thought was visible, but it wasn't the whole situation. Complete situational awareness makes it easier to solve problems instead of just partially solving them. It works on the racetrack, on a street, in your life, when you're building. Be aware of the entire situation. Don't solve just one piece of the problem. Try to understand the entire system, and make sure other problems don't happen. or make sure you are solving the cause of the whole issue and not just one symptom of the problem. I used to teach the junior programmers under me when I was designing systems. Don't just fix one thing, look at everything around it, make sure that there's no other things wrong. It works in life. It works in life. So, that being said, maybe this time, maybe I really am ready for the motor.